This video is the story of a place where magic happened. A place where space and time suspended and the most beautiful art and music was created. To some people it was a ship, to some a theatre and a cinema, but to most of us, it was a pub called the Jolly Brewer. To try and describe how special this place is to those of us that know it is almost impossible. It's a place of first gigs, first pints, first kisses, alchemy, poetry and friendship. Some of us even proposed to him.
I'm going to do something very embarrassing right now.
The brewer's gates are currently closed, and up until a few days ago there was a strong chance the pub would never reopen. However, I have some good news to tell you all about that later on. This video is going to be about the history of one of the world's most unique and beautiful pubs, and why we should try to save it. While I was researching this video, I made a petition to keep the brewer as a live music venue and preserve its unique interior, which is linked in the video description. Please sign it if you can, I think it will make a difference. I've also set up a Facebook group called the Jolly Brewer Preservation Society, where you can all share our pictures, videos and memories of the pub's adventures. Right, let's get started. I was about 15 years old when my brother took me to the Jolly Brewer for the first time. I'd been working as a sound tech in pubs and bars, and he wanted to show me the place in our little city where things were really happening. And he took me to the Wednesday night open mic. And that night I saw music that would change my life forever. The Brewer was a pub like no other. Its decoration was an Art Deco, maybe Art Brewer, I don't know. Its walls were painted a vibrant green, and its giant old bar had light-up stained glass panels that made the room glow in a magical way. A painted fresco of a beautiful lady oversaw the publicans, who were all a bit strange. All the mismatched people who didn't really fit in anywhere else in life collected in the Brewer, particularly creatives. Everyone was very different, but nobody ever fought in the Brewer. It was a truly safe space. Everything in the Brewer was handmade specifically for the pub. From the clock to the dartboard to the inscribed Gambian djembe drum. Even the tiles around the bar were hand-glazed and fired by a local artist. The beer garden was wrapped in a gorgeous painted fresco, weird and wonderful in its content. I found out that as the artist Jez painted it, he included any ideas the publicans could throw at him, which explains the dead SpongeBob SquarePants lying at the bottom of the fountain. There was also the giant trip hazard fish, the traffic lights to signal last orders, the beautiful Jolly Brewer gates, all overlooked by this man. And this is where our story really starts, with Walt. Part 1. The birth of the Brewer. The oldest reference we can find to this pub is from 1810, but we believe it's older than that. There are rumours that it's actually the oldest pub in Lincoln, even older than the Adam and Eve, but our source for that is a random man who wandered into the pub off the street, so I wouldn't take that as gospel. It started life as the Royal Cow, but when Queen Victoria took to the throne, it was changed to the Brown Cow. Situated near a drain, it would have been a dirty, smelly, spit and sawdust place, a coaching house with a blacksmith's at the rear. This amazing article from 1910 tells us how an escaped cow wandered in off the street into one of the old brown cow's bedrooms and wouldn't move. We're still wondering how the cow managed to get up the stairs. By this time the pub's name had changed to the Unity, which was how it was called for about 100 years. In 1982, a couple, Terry Higgins and Merv Davies, bought the property on a whim during a buying spree of property in the area. Thinking it would be the quietest of all the properties they purchased, Terry installed his mum and dad, Walter and Doris, in the pub as bartenders, and this is where the legend of the Jolly Brewer is born. Walt is the original Jolly Brewer, and his smile may have greeted you for many years from the fresco in the beer garden or the pub sign without even knowing who he was. This article from 1982 explains how, after considering a few faces, they felt Walt had such a jolly face he was the best choice for the Jolly Brewer. Walter and Doris quickly became two of Lincoln's most beloved people, and their warm, friendly atmosphere made the pub boom. A regular of the bar told me this: Walt's name was Pops. Everyone knew him as that. He was about 4 foot tall and worked in the bar until he was 75. He was such a lovely, funny man. Through Terry's theatre and arts connections, a team of 10 local artists was assembled, and the brewer was designed and built by them, coordinated by a lady called Kerry for us. She painted the famous Painted Lady on the wall, and she'd go on to design the Jorvik Centre in York. The stunningly beautiful Painted Lady is based on a painting by Polish Art Deco artist Tamara de Limpico. Her style is a blend of Cubism and Neoclassicism. Many other world-famous artists worked on the interior. Dave Reekie is one of the foremost flat glass designers in the world, and he made the light fittings, and his student Susan Williams made the front window and interior stained glass, her first commission. The beautiful table coverings were created by Jeanette Kilner and held pictures of all the Brewer family partying together. Brian Peacock painted the pub's sign and designed the bar's light-up canopy. Bob Batherwick made the unique tiles for the dado rail. Nigel Clark designed the lighting. Chris Madison made the furniture, most of it based on the original features of the old Unity Hotel, helping maintain the character of the building. Decorative artists Tony and Nell Liddell painted the walls with a series of specialised paint techniques to achieve marbling and cloud effects. There was also a period Wurlitzer jukebox provided and restored by John Buckley, which I would love to see. Does anybody have any photographs of this stuff? David Fowler photographed in detail the whole process, and I have none of these photos. If David is still out there, or if his family have these pictures, please share them with me. I would love to see them so much. For over 10 years the pub was booming, attracting good-hearted eccentric people from all walks of life. But eventually Terry and Merv sold up, and the new owner leased the pub to someone who couldn't quite make it work. And at this moment, into the story comes the amazing Emma Chapman, a lady who in so many ways made the pub the legend that it is today, and truly took it to the next level. Emma was a barmaid at the brew in the mid-1990s before it changed hands, along with Andrea Ferguson, an amazing next-level musician and a long-time friend and mentor of mine. In fact, the lady who got me into performing music. After seeing the pub's sad decline, in 2004 Emma bought the lease from its failing landlord and began renovating the pub, bringing it back to what it was in its height, and then took it a step further. Emma is responsible for bringing live music into the brewer for the first time, and starting a legacy as the city's most prolific original music venue. Andrea was her first booking. Emma says the music community really began when Bob Cairns walked into the pub and asked to start an open mic night. Can't steal 'em, I ain't begging you. Melancholy woman, give me the blue. Bob is one of the most incredible musicians and hosts I've ever known. He's influenced every musician he's ever met. His gentle soul, kindness and wit glued the community together and encouraged so many incredible young performers. He played a 5-string guitar with a tuner crudely hacked out of it, and amazing patterns that Bob hand-carved into its top. I remember Bob sharing with me sketchbooks full of his incredible psychedelic artwork and some really beautiful music. For all the time that I knew Bob, he had huge health problems due to a chiropractor having permanently damaged his back. To function, he relied on a cocktail of drugs, and sometimes he was in so much pain that he could barely function, but he always pulled through for us, and he was never anything short of an amazing performer. Bob was always reluctant to be recorded because he wanted his music to be perfect. And aside from some videos that I shot without knowing this, and some of his own carefully perfected recordings, there isn't really much left of Bob's music for us to enjoy. But if you have any recordings of Bob, I'd love you to share them with me so that I can enjoy them. One of the great pleasures of putting this project together has been hearing Bob's music again. After many years of care and dedication to the pub, his health became so bad that he was left housebound. Bob passed away a few years back, and with limited contact, sadly, I didn't find out at the time. I'd like to take a second to mark the passing of this incredible man, his beautiful soul and his ethereal music. With love to Bob Cairns. The Beer Garden. Emma also redeveloped the beer garden into the brilliant space it is today, having artist Jez repaint the mural and adding incredible steelwork that stylistically ties the place together. The result is an absolutely incredible achievement.
The stunning gates and railings of the beer garden were designed by Johnno Rhodes, who also played a massive part in restoring original parts of the pub that have been damaged over the years, such as the cat and the tables.
Creating the beer garden really upset the Jolly Brewer ghost in the process, but he did settle down once the work was complete. The Jolly Brewer ghost. The Jolly Brewer ghost first appeared in the form of a biker who'd passed away in the days of the pub being the Unity, as it was then a biker's pub. The book Hauntings in Lincolnshire says that he died in a car crash. He was seen multiple times leaning up against the doorway of the pub, always in the same place. Most of the bartenders had the experience of a voice shouting their name, always from the same place and there being no one there. But the cheekiest thing that ever happened was when the ghost drained an entire 72-pint cask of beer. The cask had been full on delivery, but it was drained dry with not a trace of leakage. To check the cask wasn't leaking, it was then filled with water and tested, but it didn't leak, and there's no way anyone could have stolen its contents. Well, it's not surprised a pub ghost enjoys a pint or two. The incident made it into the local paper. The Jolly Brewer Theatre Company. The Jolly Brewer Theatre Company started in 2006 when licensing laws changed, and Emma took the opportunity to license the brewer as a theatre and cinema as well. They produced works like The Who's Rock Opera Tommy, The Beggar's Opera, and 2 pantomimes, Aladdin and the Magic Tankard, and Snow White and the Seven Boroughs. One regular remembers driving all the way to South Wales to pick up theatre seats for the cinema, where films would be played. Famous performers. The Jolly Brewer was never really about famous musicians. It was about cultivating original music by unknown artists. But there were amazing nights featuring Hawkwind, or Space Ritual as they were then called, John Gomm, The Feminists, Tom Hingley of the Inspiral Carpets, and TV Smith of the Adverts. Webstock. Webstock is a really special moment in the pub's history, and mine too. In 2008, Andrea organised this incredible 3-day festival and streamed the whole event online. Now in 2023, that doesn't seem like a big deal, but in 2008, internet streaming was in its infancy, and Webstock was the first festival, as far as we know, to live stream to the internet, before download and before Glastonbury. A colossal amount of work was undertaken to make this work, including a lot of correspondence with the PRS, 2 sound mixers, 1 live and 1 for the live stream, and a live video mix. As a spotty 18-year-old, my band The Satisfaction played a very sketchy set, and it was a huge step forward in the world for us. I felt so proud, and I still feel very proud of this happening. One year, the PA system was even the same used for Download Festival the same year. For all the 3 years that it happened, Webstock was a next-level, super professional event. It set a high standard for events in Lincoln that I don't think has ever been surpassed. The Jolly Brewer CD. One Christmas, Bob organised the Jolly Brewer CD, where artists from the open mic went to the uni studio and recorded their best tracks. This resulted in the Jolly Brewer Christmas CD, which sold for the brewer many years at a price of £5 a copy. There's also DVD knocking around at these sessions, where we can see all those people that we loved from back in the day. The Good Ship Jolly Brewer. The Good Ship Jolly Brewer is a phrase that Emma and Andrea used to describe the creaky old Victorian pub. Andrea commissioned this beautiful picture, in which we can see every character in the pub's crew, from Emma at the helm to Pete O'Hara at the sound desk, to the mice in the beer cellar drinking the beer. Bob is also here running an open mic. You can look at this for hours finding every detail. It's something really, really special. The Victorian Concert Hall. Above the pub, until recently, there was a huge Victorian concert hall, complete with plasterwork and grand fireplaces. Unfortunately, it sounds like when the upstairs was redeveloped into more flats, we believe the space was destroyed. I'm so sad that I never got to see this, and I hope there's parts of it still there, but if anybody has pictures, I would really love to see them. Me and the brewer. It won't surprise anyone to know that the brewer was a huge part of my life. From my first big festival slot with The Satisfaction at Webstock, to many a solo gig, to playing open mics with my amazing band The Breakfast Club. Probably my favourite 2 brewer gig memories would be the launch night for my 2013 EP The Wish, in which we filmed the whole night in multicam and made a proper concert movie that you can watch right now. It features loads of our favourite artists, and I'm very proud of it. And then there's the night when I performed the whole of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band solo, Well, almost solo. I had a little help from my friends in places. It was such good fun. After Emma Chapman left the pub, it was taken over by Mark Siddy, another brilliant landlord. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to interview Mark for this video, so I don't have any stories from his time in the pub. My happiest memory of this time is when he gave me the pub on a Sunday to put on and film the Wish EP launch. I wish I had more to say about these times, but most of my times between Emma and Mark kind of bleed into one, so I'm not sure which memories belong in which time period. But Mark was a brilliant landlord, and he gave a great atmosphere to the pub. Bentleys Bar. In 2020, the bar was taken over by Paul Bentley and renamed to Bentleys Bar, a very controversial move. He painted the interior grey and pulled out the petition walls and took away some of the art, which upset a lot of people. However, in lots of ways, Paul was a brilliant landlord, and throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, he held outdoor events and paid musicians and staff very generously, when nobody else was in a position to do so. He put a lot of personal money into supporting the pub, and unfortunately, because of COVID debts, the pub didn't work out for him. However, one of Paul's best decisions was employing my close friend and best mate, Michael Logan, to organise the pub's live music, host its open mic, run its social media, and create a whole new menu of vegan food. Mike single-handedly crafted a live music scene so beautiful it reached the energy and heights of the pub's glory days, and in some ways even surpassed them. It was an amazing time, and Paul and Becca became part of the Jolly Brewer family. Many people remember this time as a highlight of their young lives, and many tears were cried when Bentleys closed its doors. I barely realised as it happened, but I was actually the last person to play live at Bentleys Bar, and I feel like that's quite an honour. So what does the future hold? And now we get to what's happening now, and the news is coming thick and fast. Last week I decided I'd held on long enough, and I decided to do what I'd meant to do for a very long time. I started collecting materials to make a video chronicling the history of the Jolly Brewer and why it's important to me. I also created a petition to keep the Brewers a live music venue and preserve the art inside, and I'm proud to say in 3 days this petition shot up to 700 signatures, and it showed me that what I felt in my gut was right. I'm not the only person who cares about this pub. At the same time, unbeknownst to me, after 6 months on the market, a new landlord was signing the tenancy on the Jolly Brewer. A couple of days ago, they reached out to me and they revealed what they intend to do to the venue. And it's good news. They intend to keep the Jolly Brewer as a live music venue. They also told me that they intend to keep as much of the original interior as they can, although they will be making some changes to the decor. I think this could be a really brilliant result if it comes through. These new tenants seem like they have great intentions and they were receptive to listening to the petition and the strong feelings towards the pub and preserving it. They said the petition aligns with what they want to do with the place, which I think is a brilliant sign. Obviously though, it's their pub now. Whatever changes they want to make, they will make. If they decide they want to gut the place, nobody can stop that happening. It is up to them, because they put the money down. And this petition isn't meant to tell anybody what to do. It's to show them how much people care. And that investing in restoring the things that make the pub unique in the long term is money well spent. Because if they do, we will put every penny they spend on doing so back behind the bar tenfold with great pride. Because it matters to us. They've also said that there will be some kind of public consultation on the future of the pub. So keep your eye out for that and be sure to have your say. At the end of the day, you can't just go down to Wickes and buy handmade Art Deco accessories to your one-of-a-kind pub. It's a tough gig to preserve this pub, but what makes the Jolly Brewer awkward is also what makes it a truly magical place to be, and what kept me coming back all these years. There was that incredible design team who put together this fabulous, unique masterpiece of a pub, the only one in the world, and I feel sick in my gut at the idea of it being destroyed. But I've done my best, the rest is up to you. Please sign that petition and share it, just so they can be aware how much we all care about this place and make informed decisions. Still, whatever happens to the interior of the pub, let's celebrate that these people are investing a lot of money into keeping a classic live music venue alive. Let's support them in that venture. I think it's amazingly cool that soon there will be live music back again on the Jolly Brewer stage, and another era of Brewerites, loving the sacred space and incubating the next generation of blossoming musicians, poets and artists. The good ship Jolly Brewer sails on, and even if she becomes the ship of Theseus where every piece has been replaced, at least she's still sailing. This video could go on forever, and I have to stop somewhere. Just to say a massive, massive thank you to everybody who's helped me collate this history and all these memories. Thank you for reminding me how full of love this place was, how beautiful it was, how much it still matters, and what it still could be again. It was wonderful to feel the Jolly Brewer spirit. And I end with this sincere plea. Let's save the Jolly Brewer.
To see your life in sound, betrays your laws and folds your crown. Your life is brown, I stumble at your feet. Down on your luck again, believe me, brother, I feel your pain when only rain can wash you in the street. If only I could lead her home, convince her she was partly drawn by angels lost in caves beneath the sea. Separate your mind from wine, behold, the planets won't align for anyone till everybody's free. And it's all for the lemon tree. This light we found, we can make electricity. The day the sky turns brown, I still could write 100 songs about the way that we were wrong to